are now tuned into the Spartanite. My name is Nadia Arain. I am an occult specialist that uses spiritual intelligence to empower entrepreneurs for massive profit and impact in all areas of their life. I'm also an award-winning mentor, award-winning author, clairsentient psychic, and founder of the Spartanite. And today I want to cover a really interesting topic about how to spot time wasters and predators and just people that are generally going to get in the way of you getting ahead in life. So when we obviously go towards success and we work our way to success, I think there's a lot of people that don't really realize that the company you keep, the people you hang out with, what their conversations are, where you go with them, what you say to them, or what they say to you rather, is going to have a massive impact in your life. It's going to have a massive impact when it obviously comes down to what you can achieve in your life. Because there's a lot of people I hear always say, oh, well, my family doesn't want me to do this, my friends don't want me to do this. It's difficult to get a new family. I totally understand that. I mean, if your family is truly toxic and they're people that are not healthy, I would just say cut them off, period. You know, it's you know, they say blood is thicker than water, but it's not really necessary. If they are people that are DNA related or blood related to you through genetics, but they are people that cannot honor your boundaries, they can't respect your boundaries, it might be a very difficult decision, and I understand that, but it's easier to cut them off completely from your life than endure more pain, more sorrow, more heartache. With people who are like friends or acquaintances, if people are not in alignment with what you want from your life, you will have to eliminate them. This does not mean that they are bad people. This does not mean they are dishonorable people. For the most part, I think people don't really mean to cause harm. But when you're obviously looking at time wasters and people that are not obviously going anywhere with their life, you can't take those people anywhere with you. And I mean that literally, and I mean that figuratively. So there's a big difference that I really want to talk about when it comes to time wasting and it comes to predatory individuals. Time wasting people are not particularly bad people. I wouldn't say that they are people who mean bad for you or ill-intentioned, so to speak. But what I do find about them is they're people that have no direction in life. If you obviously stop somebody and you ask them and say, where do you see yourself in 6 months, where do you see yourself in a year, and they can't give you at least one or two major things that they're working towards, that person is a time waster. That person is there to waste time. People who are not clear about their objectives, people who are not clear about where they wish to go in their life, what they want their spouse to be like, if obviously one intends to get married, what they want their friends to be like, what healthy weight do they want to achieve, very clear, direct goals, you're gonna have a very, very difficult time going anywhere with these people, because every time you sit down to try and focus on something, it's always going to be, let's go out, let's do this, let me spend 2 hours of your phone, or of your phone time, talking on the phone, wasting your time, not really going anywhere, aimless. I've presumably had people that just have called me in my earlier years of life, not obviously now, very many years ago, and just called to waste time on the phone. There was no real aim of the conversation. Now, I personally have a lot of Capricorn stellium, and Capricorn's obviously a building sign. For all of those who have strong Capricorn energy, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. For those who don't, it's very much a no-nonsense, no-time-wasting kind of sign. I'm an Aquarius sun, so I don't want people to think I'm actually a Capricorn sun. I'm not. But one thing I find very, very interesting about earth signs, obviously, which is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, there's very little BS, basically, especially things like Cap. There's no time wasting. So, because Capricorn obviously rules the element, Saturn rules time. So this is obviously not an astrology video. I'm going to try and keep it as best as possible to the topic of time wasting and predatory individuals, basically. So with time wasters, you will always feel like you don't achieve much, and a lot of people ask me, how do you know if you've been around time wasting people? Well, you haven't really achieved much. There's no real end goal or objective in sight. Sometimes you sit down with your friends, you have good lunch, good breakfast, good dinner, whatever it is, but your conversation needs to be mentally stimulating, it needs to be emotionally nourishing. And if you feel like you're just sort of pushing food at the table, is what I call it, and you'd rather be somewhere else, then they're not people you want to be associating with or giving your time to. Now, predatory people are very different type of individuals. Predatory people are not looking to waste your time. In fact, predatory people will mold themselves into everything that you have maybe wanted. So don't be too quick to share your goals, your objectives, your so on and so forth with people, and really screen their intentions. Because if you don't screen your intentions with predatory people, most people walk all around the world like an open wound. Basically, they're bleeding emotionally. I don't mean literally with blood, basically, but I mean on an emotional level, they bleed all the time. So what happens with predatory individuals is they're listening all the time. The predatory people have very good ears. They listen to what you want, and then they're going to try and manipulate that against you. I remember a guy I used to know years ago said to me that I listen to people's weaknesses and I turn them against them. It was obviously a narcissist. It kind of goes without saying. And it's fascinating that predatory individuals will essentially come at you with a very honorable sort of facade, and then bit by bit they will slowly chip down at your self-esteem. So if you don't feel empowered in someone's company, if you don't feel good about yourself in somebody's company, leave. That's what I usually say, because that person, it's a form of psychic attack, basically, is what I usually say. Now, lots of people say to me, what's abuse? Because with predatory individuals comes abuse. Lots of people, and especially a lot of women watching this, I want you to know that just because somebody hasn't laid a hand on you, or they haven't raped you, or they haven't tried to kill you, doesn't mean they haven't abused you. Often the worst type of abuse in the world is those backhanded remarks that we get from people. You got a new car for $6,000 and it looks beautiful, and then you got your friend telling you, oh well, my cousin got that car for like $3,000, you know, last 2 weeks, but yeah, your car looks good, I'm really happy for you. You know what? That's a hater. That's also someone that's predatory, not just time wasting, because they want to chip away at your self-esteem. They're going to say tiny things to you, they're tiny digs, tiny mean things to chip away so that they have won over you. And see, predatory people come in all shapes, all forms, and what they do is they charm you immediately. They're very charming. They have gilb, basically. Gilb is different to charisma. Charisma is just somebody that's very mesmerizing and you take in everything what they say. Gilb is more being too slick. And if something looks too perfect with somebody, that should ring warning bells in your head, is what I say. So predatory individuals are practically everywhere. 1 in 20 people at present has cluster B disorders, whether it's narcissism, whether it's being a psychopath, being a sociopath, histrionic, whatever you want to call it. So it's really up to you to be able to spot these people and always go with your gut feeling. If on first impressions, no matter how good somebody looks, how good they talk, no matter what they try and do on paper, if they don't feel right to you, use your solar plexus chakra, your belly area essentially. If they don't feel right to you, gone. That's it. Don't ask any questions, because that person, and remember, people tend often not to show their diseases first. I mean that literally and figuratively. Obviously, we're talking about the disease of the astral. We're talking about a disease of the mind, the disease, the psyche, the mind, I guess, disease, so to speak, or the psyche disease. And bearing in mind that predatory individuals are very good at what they do, that's why you got a lot of people who are predators and they make a lot of money. They're predators and they got a harem of women or men around them. Because they've learned the art so well, they've learned conning people so well, they know people's hot buttons, they know people's emotional pain points, they know what people want to hear and don't want to hear as well. So they're always going to try and mold themselves into something that you would approve of or acquiesce of, and they will try and appease you with that. You know, there's a lot, especially sociopaths. I think narcissists can do this as well, but I believe sociopaths is more, they'll just listen what you have to say, and then suddenly, you know, you have the same interests, same hobby, same whatever it is, and that's how you know that person's predatory. You can watch it over a period of time, but the energy is very strong, it's psychopathic, it has no regard for boundaries. You see, time wasters, when you tell them that they've crossed a boundary, they'll often just either back off and they'll just disappear and leave you alone. But predators are completely something different. Predators will be like, here's a boundary. Oh, great, let me fuck it up and cross it. That's really what predators are after. They want to learn what boundaries you have, and essentially they're really going for people that don't have any boundaries in the first place. So I hope that's given you more clarity watching this, and really to be rid of time wasters and predators. It's about raising up your self-worth in both instances. self-value is high. When you deal with predators and when you deal with people who are time wasters, when you look at basically their the way and how they move, it's two very different things. So what happens with time wasters essentially is that when you have healthy self-worth, you will come to find that you won't entertain them. Predators, you'll simply stamp them out. So I hope that's given you clarity on sort of really identifying time wasters, predators, and where to go with that. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll be back for another round to discuss a great topic. Take care.